Hey everyone, it's me Letitia and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually going to be starting a little series that I've been wanting to do for a while, and this is something that I've had a few close friends of mine and family and those that watch my channel have suggested, and this is going to be the beginning of many series that I'm adding to this channel. So today is going to be a back to basics tutorial. I'm talking a straight out old school step-by-step how-to tutorial, and that is a foundation routine as well as highlighting and contouring. As you can see, I am barefaced because we're going to get right on into it, and I actually posted, or I'm getting ready to post, a brow tutorial as well, so that'll be up on my channel very soon, probably right behind this video. If you guys want to see how I achieve a foundation routine, please keep watching. It's actually going to consist of stick foundations. For my face, I'm actually going to use the ColourPop No Filter stick in the shade Dark 167, and for my contour, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Walnut stick foundations. And I thought I had a foundation stick light enough to highlight or conceal with, but I don't, so I'm just going to be using a regular concealer. This is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade Caramel, and of course you can use whatever products that you have or that's suitable for you and your skin tone. But before we get into applying the actual foundation, we're going to start with a primer. This one is the Cover FX Blurring Primer, and I like this one because it has a mattifying finish to it, because when you're using a stick foundation, the majority of stick foundations that are out have wax and oil in them. So if you have oily skin like I tend to have, then these could make your face even oilier. For me, I managed to make it work, but I would recommend using a mattifying primer of some sort if you have oily skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this all over my face. So this primer in particular is supposed to blur the skin and smooth it out, but it has a kind of a matte texture in my opinion, so I like to use this before I use any type of stick foundation. Now there are a couple of ways to apply a stick foundation. You can obviously just take off the cap and put the foundation directly onto your face, or if you want to, you can always take a brush and just glide it onto a brush and then blend it out as well. It really just depends on your preference, and if you want like super full coverage, I typically just put it directly on my face and just build it up. So I'm actually going to do that in this case. So we're just going to take the stick foundation and just drag it along our face here, and I actually tried this on the other day. This foundation, it actually glides on really smooth, and it does have really nice coverage. I'm not going to put on as much today because the coverage is so full, but if you find yourself using a stick foundation that's not, you know, that full coverage, you can always build it up. So now I'm going to buff out my foundation, and with a stick foundation, my favorite brush to use is any type of flat top foundation brush like this. It just makes it so much easier, especially with this foundation. It's really creamy, and you want to make sure you blend this all the way down your neck like this. That way it all comes together and it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask. And I also like to take my foundation, any foundation that I use, I like to take it across my lids just to even them out, because my lids are a little bit dark. And then I'm just gonna very carefully go across the top of my brows here, because I don't want to mess up how they are filled in. So be very careful when you're going along the sides of your brow and your temple. This coverage of this foundation stick though is so beautiful. Like, you guys know I have a lot of hyperpigmentation and acne scars on my face, and so for that to be covered up with like a few swipes of that foundation, that's really good. Make sure you take it up to the hairline and blend it up into the hairline. That way, again, it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask. Make sure I get my nose really good. Well, this is what the foundation looks like, completely blended out. If you're someone that's not big on like a full face highlight contour, you could really get away with this. I could honestly get away with this, but I like to do all the steps. So we're going to move on to highlighting slash concealer. So as I mentioned, the concealer that I'm using is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer, and this is in the shade number 40, which is caramel. So when you're concealing and highlighting, you want to use a color that is 1.5 shades lighter than your skin tone, and this is going to brighten up the center of your face. I'm going to just use the director, oh my gosh, I'm just going to use the applicator straight out of the bottle, and I'm going to apply this under my eyes. A trick that I learned is if you take your concealer and space it down a little bit like I just did, and you blend it up, by the time you blend it up, it's kind of sheared out, so it cuts down on creasing, because a lot of us have like a little bit of those under eye lines. So if you pack on too much concealer, it can crease up and look cakey, and it's really not that flattering. So I like to take my concealer all the way down and then blend it up. That way I don't have as much product straight up under my eyes. And I like to do the triangle trick that I learned. It's literally like this, a triangle. Then I'm going to take it and draw a line straight down the center of my nose, and this is going to help with contouring my nose. Take a little bit on my chin to brighten it up. Go along the top of my lip here, brighten that area up, and just take a little on my forehead. I feel like this concealer is like a good starter concealer because it's not that heavy, it's not that thick. If you're someone that's not really big on a whole lot of makeup, or you're new to trying on makeup. Now we're going to blend the concealer out, of course, and I'm using just a fluffy brush like this. This is actually a contour brush, but I like how small it is to where it fits up under my eyes. And I'm just going to blend everything in place. So as you can see, I'm finally blending that up. And I'm going to take it along the side of my face here. Keep it right above the top of the cheek. And I'm just kind of still dragging it out to where I still have that triangle shape, if it makes sense. Like, I'm terrible at explaining things, but you just want to make sure you keep that concealer right here along this section, right up under your eye, and go right along the side, kind of still in that triangle shape. And we're going to blend it out on our chin. Blend it out along our cupid's bow. Now when I get to my cupid's bow, I like to take my concealer and go right along the sides of my nose, because I do have some redness there, so I want to make sure that's covered. And then I like to pinch my brush and drag it up and down my nose here to blend it and still keep that line. So as you can see, that line has helped to contour my nose before I apply like a dark contour shade. And then I'm going to take that same brush and blend it right along my forehead here. So now we're going to move on to contouring. So contouring is really what's going to help shape and structure the outer part of your face. And the typical areas that you contour are your cheeks, the sides of your nose, your temples, like the outer part of your forehead, and your jawline, just to really help kind of snatch your face in. So I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Walnut foundation, and I'm going to start by contouring the sides of my cheeks here. So I'm actually going to start, I like to line it right where my earlobe is, right here, and we're just going to drag that right along the top. Same thing for this side. Now, the purpose of contouring your forehead is to make it smaller. Since my forehead is not that big, I literally just go along my temples, like right here and right here. However, if you do have a larger forehead and you want to kind of, you know, make it look smaller, kind of bring it down, so to speak, you want to take that dark one and just line across right here. This will help to shrink the appearance of your brow, because it's a darker shadow along the top. But since my forehead is not that big, I'm not really going to do that. I'm just going to take a little bit along the sides here, and I'm also going to take this on its side, and I'm going to drag this along the sides of my nose And this is going to help to kind of shrink my nose a little bit. I also like to take it like right up to the brow here to help bring in that contour. And then I'm going to take a little bit along my jawline as well, because I do have a pretty round, chubby face. And if you really want to be extra, you can define your chin as well and put a line on each side of your chin. I'm going to use, this is a Real Technique sculpting brush. This is what it looks like, and I'm actually going to use that to blend out that contour. So when you're blending out your contour, you want to take it up. If you feel like you don't have like anywhere to blend it out, I like to contour up and instead of taking it down, because it kind of ruins it. So we're just going to blend out that contour. Blend out my forehead contour. Get my jawline. And as you can see, I'm blending my jawline contour downward, because I don't want to bring it up into my foundation. That defeats the purpose of the contour. So make sure your jaw contour, you're blending it down. For my cheeks, I blend it upward. For my forehead, I just blend it back and forth, like side to side along the top. And then for my chin, I'm just going straight down as well. And again, for my nose, I'm going to pinch my brush and just very lightly tap along my contour here just to blend it out. I don't want to over blend to where you can't see it, because that defeats the purpose of even putting on a contour. And of course, it takes practice for this. You're not going to get this right like the first time around. As you practice, you're going to see, oh, either you blended too much or you didn't blend enough. And then you'll know what to do for the next time. And you just keep on practicing until you get, you know, the contour that you want. And everybody's face shape is different. So the way I contour might not be flattering for the next person. It's just a matter of, you know, practicing, trying different techniques, trying different shapes, different lines, blending in different directions, and eventually you'll be able to figure out what works best for you. Now that we've completely applied our foundation and we've contoured, notice I used all cream products. Now, if you have really good normal skin, maybe combination, you could probably pull off just leaving it at this. But since my skin can get oily and these products do have an oil in them, I want to set my foundation and set my contour so that it stays in place all day. So I'm actually going to set where I applied my concealer and my highlight in the center of my face first with a powder. I want to say thank you to my close friend Nita, who gifted me with this Ben Nye Luxury powder last night. And I'm actually going to use this to set my concealer and everywhere in the center of my face. So you can either do this with a sponge or a brush. I just like to use a brush. This is actually a blush brush by e.l.f., but I really like using this to set along the center of my face because it's nice and flat, but it's also tapered at the same time. So I just poured a little bit of that powder into this cap, and I'm going to dip my brush into it, and I'm going to press that powder right into where I applied that concealer. And this is going to set that concealer in place so it doesn't crease up on me throughout the day. I'm probably a good, I don't know, 5-6 years late, but this is my first time using this Ben Nye banana powder. Y'all know I love my Sasha powder. I use it pretty much in every video, but it doesn't hurt to try new products. Apply that to our chin here to set that in place. And then I don't know if you can tell, I have smile lines, so I like to put powder along those too so that I don't crease up. And then I go along my top lip, and then I'm gonna set my nose because my nose can get extremely greasy if I'm not careful. And then we're going to apply it to our forehead here. If you want to keep it simple, you can take this powder or translucent powder, and you can go over your entire face. You can set your concealer, you can set your contour, and just be out the door. But because I'm kind of particular with my makeup, I like to use a light powder for under my eyes and then set my contour with a dark powder, which is actually what we're going to move on to next. So what I'm going to use is my CoverGirl bronzer in the color Ebony Bronze. This is my favorite product. It's really all that I ever use. But this is going to be used to help set the contour as well as contour my face even more. So I'm actually going to use this fluffy tapered powder brush here, and I'm going to dip it into the bronzer. And this one is pretty pigmented, so I like to go in lightly. And I'm just going to go over right where I applied that contour the first time. And it also helps to warm up my face and add some shape to it. And then whatever's left, I just take it lightly along where I contoured my forehead, go lightly right across the top, and then I go lightly along my jawline. And then I just pinch my brush, dip a little bit into the bronzer, and I just go right where I put those first set of lines. So this is pretty much what my face looks like after I do my foundation, my highlight, and my contour routine. This is honestly like a really lightweight, kind of natural looking routine for me. So if you want to, at this point, you can definitely put on a lip color, a lip gloss, maybe some mascara, a little bit of a highlighter, and go ahead and get your day started. But I'm actually going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and do that off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that my makeup is finally done, this is the overall look. I went on ahead and for some reason my lash keeps getting stuck together. But yeah, this is what everything looks like when you pull it all together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, because I will be doing so many more back to basic step-by-step tutorials like this. Again, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and all the information as well as my information will be down below in the description box, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.